So get this. I was sitting around and I had a thought. Do I actually know what my favorite thing of all time is? Like it's such a weird question to kind of like ask someone where it's like, what exactly is your favorite movie? What exactly is your favorite video game? What exactly is your favorite like anime, like whatever. I I've really wondered like what exactly is my favorite thing of all time. And I think I came up with a solution. Thanks, Lightning. And my solution is this. This if you watched my 2025 in review video, I had one of these, and that's this one over here that I just had, and I need to repopulate it, but I need to repopulate it correctly. So this is what I did. Let me go over to this one to kind of showcase. So as I pointed out, I have one that is for video games, one that is for anime, and one that is for movies. This one is just for other media, and it's all blank, so I can basically show this off. So when I am looking at something, and I'm given like five things, on average, the five things are going to have three silver, one bronze, and then one gold, you know? At at that this is what I consider to be like a normal set. It's only when you start getting to like twice this size that I feel the need that you have to start like doing something else. Because when you get to two more there, two more there. Uh so when we are sitting at 9 items on a list, it's very easy to basically like section this off as like the top three, the middle three, the bottom three. When you get to even like one more, you start getting to this tangible feeling that you need to start clarifying what is the best thing of a set. So everything that is then past this, that is the best of these golds, like I feel become platinum, or at least the showcase of the golds that are here. And anything that is added to bronze, I feel like has to be the bottom part of it, which, is the stone of the set. And it's not for lack of. Yeah, so it's like the best way to kind of put this is that I have this whole list of things, you know? And let me just like fill it out just like a tiny bit more. So it's like we have in this setup, we have 9 silver, we have 6 gold, and then the caps, and then one platinum. With on the other side, it's equalated out to 6 bronze and 1 stone. This to me is the pinnacle of the set. Maybe like a 10th one right there. Just kind of like round all that out. Eh, whatever. Um, so when we are looking at a set like this, it's very easy to kind of see like how this all shapes out, And I needed to I've already started putting things onto my media thread for this year. And I was sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I need to start doing this. I need to actually like sit down and go like, okay, am I adding things to my list? Am I like, how far do I go with like, oh, this is like a really cool thing? Like, is like, do I start picking up mediocre things that are I know are going to be bronze just so I can find the one thing that's stone for the year? Like, and I think I came up with a pretty nice solution overall. And I think it starts with the way that I have my video games set up right now. So I currently have only platinum. You'll notice that I have 5 platinum. The thing that I consider to be my top 5 games of all time are sitting here on this list. And when I'm going to go in and I'm going to pull up my final image that I had for my previous video, and I'm gonna just fill all this in. I'm also gonna set over here with like anime. I'm also gonna set over here for like movies, and uh if for some reason I watch like like actual television or read a book, it would just go over here. Um, and the reason why I did this, and one of the reasons why I need to have in other media, is I also have put a review for stuff that is online. Like I would say like an animated series on YouTube doesn't really count as an anime. It would more count as an other. E because this is also the just regular television list. And that might seem kind of weird that I would like lump all those together, but to me, I just like the art form that is anime and anime things a lot better than actual television. So I just went like anime and manga over here. If something is animated, like uh famously you have things like Avatar The Last Airbender, which is not an anime, but still has a lot of the traits of an anime, or something that is like purely animated. Uh a, a purely animated TV show might also go over here. I don't exactly know what I'm gonna do just yet with the specification. Although I am going to say that anime and manga as an art form is over here, and then movies are over here. Anime movies will also be over here, just so I can round this out because I'm not watching too many actual movies anymore. And then this one is for like actual television and like internet things. Also books. Which leads me to this. My list of video games. I've also done the same thing for anime really quickly. And the list for the anime, I believe, will be upset because I will have to like start like shoveling things in. So the way that I'm going to get to, you know, five 5 platinums that are over here to coincide with the 5 stones that are over here is I need to start watching a lot more and start playing a lot more. And I think that that's fair. I feel like that I've just been kind of sitting on the sidelines for like a lot of things. Uh, I mostly blame my depression for that. But hey, it's a new year and I want to actually try to do stuff. So, what exactly are in my top 5 video games of all time? So, anyone that knows me knows that this is my top 5. These 4 right here are randomly assorted, I will say. But this one right here is the top of the top that is already the top of the top. So I would say that my favorite thing of all time is here, and then loosely assembled runners up. And then we have like the actual like gold. We have the borderline gold. We have the silver. Uh, we have the pretty low silver that gets to almost bordering on bad, pretty bad, and then absolutely terrible to the point where people should start feeling ashamed for themselves. Very simple. So, top five video games of all time, currently sitting on my list, is rather simple. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So, if you've never played this game before, or you've never played this series before, it is an action JRPG where you and a group of people are basically just running around. I feel that this game sticks in my head so much because of the thematic elements of the story, but from a like 1,000 feet up perspective of the story, it is about two nations going to war and then realizing that the suffering was for naught, and there's so many more interesting things in the world than conflict. It is it's a beautiful story. I love how it ends, and I love the absolutely like mind-shattering like revelations that happens in this story, both to the characters and to the audience. It's so fun. If you've never played the other two Xenoblade games, I would more recommend that you play those two first so you could understand context for why Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is so good. It's kind of like saying, why is like uh why is the final fight in Wano in in One Piece considered like one of the best fights uh in One Piece? And it's like, well, it's not. It's just the most like it has the most things going for it that like make you really feel for it. There is a piece of animation in the One Piece anime that is so beautiful during that fight that I feel so good about. Like, say what you will about like the actual like One Piece anime, I feel like that is not as good as the manga at points, especially with like the dips in quality like throughout the years. But it's that vibe that like I really enjoy. So, second one on that one is Pokemon Platinum. Again, anyone that knows me knows this list. Pokemon Platinum is not just one of my favorite like Pokemon games. It might actually be one of my favorite RPGs just because of the game secretly being hard. Like people don't expect how hard Platinum is until they play it. I I love the changes that they did to Diamond and Pearl to make the game actually like worth playing. Because Diamond and Pearl overall are not really that good. Like overall, and like you kind of look at the story and it's like kind of okay. But then there's something that changes with Platinum that is just really great. It's one of the reasons why I refer to my uh, no, that sounds a little bit pretentious, but like it is kind of funny that my favorite Pokemon game is Pokemon Platinum, and I put Pokemon Platinum into Platinum tier. I just find it really funny. So, the third one is Sonic the Black Knight. Now, Pokemon and Sonic have always kind of been like dueling for me of like what is my favorite franchise of all time. And I had to basically put both of my favorite games of both series on this list just to kind of have them as representations for this list. I personally feel that there is something magical about Sonic and the Black Knight. Now, you could say what you want about about the Wii, about like how everything in the Wii actually controls. I fundamentally enjoy how you play Sonic the Black Knight. There is something so magical about playing that game. It is definitely they definitely took a lot of the feedback from Sonic and the Secret Rings and basically said, okay, we still have to use motion controls, so how are we going to do that? And I love everything about Sonic and the Black Knight. It might so single-handedly be the reason why I'm so into like uh AU fiction for like other franchises. Like I could have said that like like I would probably say that like my love for Sonic the Black Knight, and I should put on the list somewhere, uh Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, like just the idea of taking like the base idea of a franchise and messing with the format is so tied in with how much I loved the aesthetic of Sonic the Black Knight. I love the Arthurian legend bend onto the characters of the Sonic franchise, and it inspired me to like write one of my first fan fictions about like anything ever. So I have to kind of like put it so far up on this list. Uh the other one on this list is Final Fantasy 14. I mentioned to someone that like when you look at Final Fantasy as a genre of RPG, it's the pinnacle of it, and then they inevitably say, but it's an MMO. And I go, yes. The problem is that the format of Final Fantasy 14 would not work if it was anything other than an MMO that has been going on for so long. The fact that you have, not including 1.0, which you can't even play anymore, you know, I would say that you have five, six really good RPGs in one game, and then one, debatably two mediocre ones. Uh, and them being mildly mediocre has nothing to do with like the overall game as a whole. It's just that there was a lull in how the stories were being written, where it's like, okay, so we have like setup, setup into a rising action into a payoff, and after kind of a good payoff, you need to now start from the bottom with a new rising action. And so you have these two expansions that are just like not as good because they have to start back from the beginning of rising all of the action back up. And I feel like Final Fantasy 14 as a whole is patch 5.3. Like when you really break down Final Fantasy 14 as a whole, um it is the end of Shadowbringers to 5.3. That is the reason why it sits at the top of my list for the rest of time. I feel like everything leading up to that moment makes the game worth it. And for my actual like favorite game of all time, it is Transistor. Like I cannot explain to people why I like Transistor besides I still to this day have the entire soundtrack downloaded onto my phone. And when I say that, I don't just mean, oh, like the main theme. No, I'm talking about incidental music that plays in the game. Every piece of music in this game is my favorite piece of music in the game. If you want me to actually state it, it's there was a version of um There is a version of what is the actual name of that song again? Like for some reason I'm blanking on it because my brain. Yeah, it's a good thing I didn't actually just say out the name. So there is a version of the song In Circles in this game that as you go through the boss fight gets more and more distorted, and there is a version of In Circles on YouTube in which after the first verse, the second verse comes in with the with still the backing track of the normal one, but the lyrics are now the final step distorted audio in one ear and the normal clean lyrics in the other. And as you go through that second verse, it starts getting into that gritty distortion. It's such a beautiful song. Paper Boats will forever be my favorite song in video games. Uh, it is such a beautiful song. I love it. Um, oh, I guess I put something else over here. But yeah, that's just for like video games. I also have over here anime, and just to go into them in the same sort of manner, I have a Full Metal Alchemist. Now, you might be wondering like, hey, that's weird. Why is it just Full Metal Alchemist? Yes, I put the original Full Metal Alchemist, not Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist and the movie together as one of my favorite anime of all time. And it's because of the build-up. I feel that the build-up that it takes to get to the reveal near the end of the series of who exactly are the sins makes it so worth it for Full Metal Alchemist. I feel like that there's something a little lost in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, skipping a lot of the material from the original Full Metal Alchemist. And it also just has the better, like, I will say that like out of Full Metal Alchemist, because we have to also talk about like the anime openings as well. Opening one of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is better than anything in Full Metal Alchemist normal, but I still hold in my heart a love for all four openings of the original Full Metal Alchemist. So it's like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood opening 1, right below it, all four openings of Full Metal Alchemist normal, and then every opening for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood after that. It's hard. It's so hard for me to disconnect Full Metal Alchemist from like my brain. It's such a great series. I also put here One Piece, the manga specifically. I would actually probably put like if I were to basically put Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood in gold just next to it, I would also put One Piece the anime also right next to it. Like I feel like that the anime of One Piece is so beautiful. I love the visuals for a lot of it, and I have oftentimes said that if you do not watch the filler of an anime, you do not understand that anime. The manga of One Piece though is probably one of the like it is there is something magical about sitting like doing what I did where over the course of one summer I went uh from chapter 100, which is which is the Log Town incident where Luffy gets struck by lightning and he sails off into the Grand Line for the first time. And he is going there. He's going to become king of the pirates, and that whole like storyline right there, all the way to where it currently was in Dressrosa, only for the next week to be the reveal of Sabo as a character. The very next week after I had gotten caught up with the entire manga of One Piece. There was something magical about that experience in the manga that a lot of the dips in quality that the anime suffers pales in comparison to now. So manga I will always put slightly better than the anime. Um now this next one is kind of dicey, but I also put onto this list Made in Abyss. I have referred to Made in Abyss, both seasons of the anime and the movie that takes place right between it. Made in Abyss as a series is one of the best series that I cannot recommend. There is so much there is so much content warning that has to go into Made in Abyss as a series, especially if you're reading it as a manga, which I prefer. I prefer reading it as a manga and reading it all the way through as a manga, then watching the anime to watch it animated. There is stuff near the end of season one, most of season two, and especially the movie that has so much like red flags that like multiple people will get caught up into it. And I do not, for anyone's health and safety, to watch Made in Abyss without foreknowledge. Um we also have Code Geass. So I was debating separating out Code Geass R1 and R2 because still in the back of my brain, the line R1 and R2 are fundamentally different anime. That my my headphones turned off. Sorry about that. Code Geass as an anime, and just the idea that R1 and R2 are fundamentally different series and you have to look at them differently makes my mouth more dry than eating a biscuit, you know? Like eating the Popeyes biscuit that's like sitting right next to me. Also because, Popeyes is better has actually improved their recipe so it's not actually like too that dry anymore. So Code Geass has an amazing R1, and there are tragic parts of R2 that make me just bored in it. And I still feel like the final episode of Code Geass is one of those moments that is so understandably written that I hate it. And I hate how well written the ending is. Because I sit there and I try to pick apart the logic, trying to see if there was a plot hole in it, and I just have to sit there and go, "No, there isn't a plot hole. I just don't like the ending." And I sit there and I go, "Maybe that's the point." And I think that the ending of Code Geass not sitting well in my stomach is probably one of the best parts about how much I enjoy it. Uh, and now for my actual favorite anime of all time. This one is gonna be interesting for a lot of people that don't actually know me. My favorite anime of all time is Beastars. Now, you can say whatever you want about like, oh yeah, the person with a furry avatar likes the furry anime, but I love the like five-sided object that is the romance Is it five? Is it a five? Uh, Is it five? I think it's more of a four. Uh, the weird four-sided like object that you have to roll around in your mouth painfully. Um, that that is the Beastar's love object. The not the love triangle, the love object, because it feels like it's more of like a 3D like item that you can't properly turn around in your head. It's so beautifully written, and it's so hard to explain to people that don't get it, you know? I kind of want to just like sit down at some point and like fill out this list with like a bunch of more things, you know? And that will eventually come. I feel like that what I should do at least is fill out the rest of this of the things that I played and watch from last year at least, and then get back to you on that. I'm gonna let you know right now. This looks so lopsided. I need to fix it around somewhat. So I just from memory and the list of games that I have written down. Oh man, I should also put that down. Uh, one one second. Okay, so after a few lists and looking at them, I put in some of the things that I had reviewed before uh, in the previous video here. Some in-flight movies I watched last year. And all these video games. I am going to need to shift a few of them down. So my goal right now is after I cut the video to shift one of these games from this row right here over to here, and then move everything down until I can create this nice, perfect, like, slope. And if I can maintain this arrow shape effectively, where everything just mounds in the center, then I've basically done my job well. Now, to reiterate, everything from the lights, everything from like here on, I would recommend. Which, even though I labeled it as like gold, it's technically high silver, so it's barely in like recommendation territory. But yeah, I I currently have a few games sitting over here, and there's still some empty spots over there. But I basically went through several of my lists. If you look at the themes, I wrote down some of the game positions from the Final Fantasy series, from the Pokemon series, from the Sonic series. A few games off the top of my head from Zelda, but not really too much. And Silent Hill, which apparently I had a list of somewhere in the back of my head. Well, technically in the back of my phone. Uh, and out of them, I put three games from each of those lists over here at Stone. So with the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 that I reviewed in the last video, I also put Final Fantasy 4 After Years, Sonic '06, the infamously 30% finished game, and Silent Hill Ascension, which is not actually a video game. Uh, I put all of those at Stone, and I slowly worked my way over. For uh, I don't think I'm going to be moving anything out of Platinum again, at least nothing for a while. The only things that are going to move are probably some golds into um from high silver into main silver, and that's roughly around about it. Um, I could literally talk for like a while about why I do certain things the way that I do, but you might notice from like the way that my list is structured and the way that this list over here is structured, I try to maintain like one game of a series to sit within the top ranks of any list that I do that is that has multiple different franchises inside of it. So even though I feel the desire to add Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric slash Sonic Boom Fire and Ice, both of them I would basically put on the same tier of bad. Uh, I might, I would like, I would slide it over here, except for there's already a Sonic game all the way at the bottom of the list. So I would need to find another game from another franchise to put over here. I could think of like one or two of them, but I would also have to like slide a few games over here. Again, there's like three, seven slots that are open up over here. If I can get like four or five of them over here to be over here and then level it out, I think that that would be best because my goal again is to kind of keep this arrow-like shape. So if I could I could be like really mean to myself because it was actually kind of painful moving a few of the games over from gold into high silver and then eventually into main silver like I did with which game did I do that in? I think I did that with I really like Final Fantasy 13, but moving it from high silver into main silver is fine. But I think the one that I hurt the most for me to do out of all of them was probably move Sonic Rush out of gold. Like I really like Sonic Rush, but there's some like weird quirks with Sonic Rush that would have made the game a lot stronger. It's just not my favorite Sonic game. It just contains one of my favorite characters of all time in it. And that's about it. I think I'm gonna end it off right there. I'll probably make another video about this after like July is up, and then add some of the stuff from my media thread onto here as like a month wrap up. Again, I'm trying to review more anime, but I can't properly give a good mark of an anime until after it's done. The only one that I'm giving an odd exception to is One Piece and Bleach because technically the anime came back, not because uh even though the quality has stepped up a little bit, the writing hasn't. So and when I put Bleach on my list, like around like here, I do it out of like no, I know what it is. Like Bleach, no more run Naruto here. Naruto Shippuden loses me a little bit. I think I would probably put like Bor Boruto like down here. Like I know some people that like burrito. Um Bolt. I know some people like Boruto. I from like minute one did not like the vibe of the new series. Uh as you can see, I have a preference towards it's like out of like all of the stuff that I put over here on this list, I realized that like I needed to separate some things out. So like I'm trying to keep like an entire series until there's like a defining line between the two things. Um, like I probably that's another one. Um, yeah, season one, two, three. Um, one final thing. before I end off, let's see if I actually have it still in my stuff. I should have it. Is that one it? Yes. Okay. Let's see if I can pull this up really quickly to show you what I mean. So, this may look like it's a normal list, but it is actually not. This is actually a preview of what my entire plan is. Let me just move this over a little bit so maybe some people could understand what this is. So, if you know what this list is, and you could figure out what the bottom part here is, it makes a lot of sense. And you might recognize some of the stuff, uh, especially with how certain things are worded. But hey, I I'm not exactly trying to hide it. I posted it in one of the discords that I'm in that I'm working on this project. But some of the stuff that are on here, I am going to uh I'm gonna have to cross out and then add because oh man, it's going to hurt. And I'm gonna have to get caught up with a few things. I need to categorize this list by the criteria I've already set. Like, have one thing be video game, one thing be movie, uh one thing be anime slash manga. Uh, I might also lump television series. Do I lump television series into it? I think I'm gonna have television series be in other, just because it's funny like that. Uh, but yeah, if you can tell what this list is, uh, by these specific selections, uh, I also have one for year two that I also have. Uh, and man, it's really funny. I really do want to finish up this list at some point, get everything onto it, and have this like big, weird looking, like massive list. And again, like to reiterate something that I mentioned, when I put things into columns, nothing in the column is sorted. Like I might want to try to keep like things within the same series, like near each other. But besides that, like if something is in, let's just say, row four, you know, if something is in row four, they're usually around like all the same like vibe to me. And if it is one up or one down, that is more indicative instead of what's next to it. So when I basically say Sonic Frontiers in my mind is around the same thing as Final Fantasy 13, and both of them are better than Pokemon Fire Red Leaf Green, but not as good as Sonic Adventure 1. In my head, this makes a lot more sense. It's like you could be anywhere along this column, but moving up and down um is like ratcheting on a gear shift, you know? So it's like if I need to move something down, let's just say Sonic Riders. I hope to move Sonic Riders a little bit further up in the future because having it be this low feels weird to me since Zero Gravity is a really fun game and I like it, but like I had to combine both of those two together because they're effectively the same game. Uh, if I were to basically shift that up, something else would have to shift down, you know? And there were some times in which it will stay in place and then I will shift something down and then something else will shift down. And that means that the dynamic between like all of the parties kind of also shift. I'm probably gonna make this a Zelda game. This right here. I'm not sure which one right now, but more than likely. Anyway, I have a list to prune. So I will see all of y'all next time. Goodbye, everybody.